All right, welcome to the Geo Scheduling Call, August 10th. We're going to go through the build board by epic. All right, first one. Ian?
Got this now to the point where it's running QA against instance that it spins up, so it's coming along pretty good. It should hopefully have this pipeline cleared up today, and then I will just need to add to finish up the omnibus MR, and it should be ready to go.
Awesome. Okay. Geo documentation improvements. Oh, this one. Oh yes, this is merged, which I believe was the last thing we needed to do here. So I'm gonna close it. All right, and we have two in dev. One cat has assigned. I'm not sure where exactly that is, but since it's a doc thing and cat is doing it, I'm not gonna maybe bother him too soon, unless anybody else knows. This one is also being done by support here. Well, I don't feel a need to bother them too much with that. Okay, the next epic is GStock 2021 improvements to backup and restore.
Yeah, the status is pretty much the same as last week. Shubham is not working on this right now. There's some work left over, but he's instead working on another issue, which is somehow not on this board, probably because we've not added Geo active. I'll take this moment to give you a small update. These are now the last 3 weeks of GStock, and he is working on the second issue here. So the temp directory was not getting cleared up in the restore task, which is what he's working on right now. And I think this might be the last issue. Maybe this and one more issue he can get through, so that'll complete his project. There's going to be a demo call, and I will ping you all about it. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. Okay. The next epic is backup and restore supports pool repositories. Oh, Cat has this one also. Valerie, do you know if we need to say anything on this issue?
I don't remember any details, sorry.
Okay. Okay, well, it's been 5 days since the last discussion, so I'll leave that to get to a week. The next epic is GitLab Environment Toolkit 1.2.0.
Yep, this is me. This is just, so this is now adding the hybrid. So this is all waiting on review now. So all the work's done and everything looks to be working. It was okay for the most part. most of our stuff for charts is quite simple. I've spoken to Nick about this. I think one of the only really annoying part was when you change a secret within the chart, it doesn't redeploy the nodes, so you have to go and destroy them all to get them to pick up the new secret value. And because we don't automatically pull the secrets from the primary, there's some kind of awkward redeploying we had to do to get the correct secrets, but other than that, it was all quite smooth. So it's one of the things we might raise an issue for, just as a potential thing we might be able to improve later. But no, yeah, thankfully it's all done, and it was still relatively simple, so it's good.
Nice. Okay. Thanks, Nick. And the next epic is secondary sites proxy to primary site. This was hopefully I was hoping it was going to be the last part of the implementation, but it's not quite. But it is closed, and with this merge request where it makes it so we don't make too many API calls from Workhorse. So I took off active, that's done. And what happened was when I went to test in staging, there was an old bit of code in Workhorse that just said, if we set the backend to an HTTPS URL, then just die, panic. And it's basically, we don't know why exactly that was added. So we removed it, and that's in review, and it seems to be working. So that's where that is. And in dev is the rollout issue for that feature. And so we're waiting on this to be deployed. Then I can test in staging. The next step in the rollout issue is to get non-Geo people to test their features on the geo.staging.gitlab.com URL, and hopefully it should work as if it's the primary. And after that, Fabian suggested that we get some customers to beta test it. So this feature is kind of, it seems like it's almost done, but there's a lot of testing yet to be done, and probably some improvements to come out of that. The next epic is replace node with site in docs. This is just ready for development. I don't think we need to say anything there. Gitaly and Geo prefect concerns, performance concerns with Gitaly cluster and Geo. That is ready for development. I think we have talked about that before as well. And the next epic is verify all blob replicators.
Yeah, I can talk about this. So between last week and this week, the big change that's happened is in this centermost issue, resolving missing associations. So this, for those who were not in the threads, we had some larger discussions with the database team amongst us as well. And we considered some options. And now we have a solution, which is going to be that we need to backfill the verification data for all the rows. And we're probably going to need a worker for that. And we will have to change some queries and eventually also optimize some of the verification queries, which are a real problem. And all of this along with thinking about what is going to happen to these tables when sharding happens, because even though it might not happen in the next 3 months, it's something we have to think about when adding a new huge table. So now we have, we are right now making a plan in the comments later on. And what I'm trying to do is start with something smaller like LFS objects, which is an MR which is stuck that Ian was working on after I left. I'm trying that we start pushing out one thing after another in a way that we are not stopped by solving the most complex problem first, but we also don't release any of this work until we are very sure that it's going to work and we are not introducing a regression. So I'm most likely going to start with LFS objects. And the next iteration would be MRDIS and pages deployment that Nick was working on. The overall thing I'm trying to say is that now this current project has become even bigger and it's going to take at least 2 or 3 milestones before we can get back to that speed that we had before, where we have a issue template and we're just following steps and adding verification quickly. But after that, things should be smooth again. So this is where we are.
Yep. Thank you for driving that. Yeah, it's really too bad that we have to use the separate table and we have to backfill only specific rows, not all of them. So, but I think it will be a nice solution in the end.
Yeah, but it's still better to find all of these problems in one go now than having a not so well thought out database solution and then figure out, oh my God, our queries are so not performant. What do we even do? Where do we even start? Or having these huge tables. Like MRDIS is one of the biggest tables in our database. And this new verifications table is going to be at least as big. So we are literally introducing another very big table. So that's why these decisions are so important at this point. So sure, we are delayed by a couple more milestones, but at least this is going to be robust.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think that's everything except for this ready for development, which we've talked about before. So the next epic is Geo Usage Pain. Well, this is closed. Something is merged. I don't know where that is exactly, but it was a documentation thing, so I'm not too worried. Thanks, Nick. Gabriel, create a single command that can be run on any node to promote a secondary to primary.
Yeah, so this is under review and I'm still learning the code. So I may be able to address feedback later.
Okay. Cool. And we've got some items in ready for development, which we, I believe, have talked about. Correct me if I'm wrong. Valerie, migrate uploads to SSF.
Yeah, so I didn't have a chance to spend a lot of time on this issue last week. So I'm close to finish it. Can't really say anything more.
I just had a thought. Given that now we have made a decision on the verification of things that need a separate table. Well, I think everything's going to be using the separate table probably in the end. Yeah, that's where the discussion was going. Given that that's happening, maybe it is worthwhile to release the migration of uploads to SSF without verification. What do you think, Valerie?
What's benefits of this?
Well, so I wouldn't want to block your work being merged. Is it possible that we'd be able to merge it, or is it blocked by the verification work that we're now have to do?
I think it's like it's not like something is pulling me back, and I think it will not solve any problem really, and also moreover it will require even more steps to do because I will need to cut lots of code I already added. So I think significant work already done about verification being added to this particular merge request. So also I have some troubles with name collisions and lots of different stuff. So maybe like it's not already finished. So maybe I will face some obstacle that will be hard to overcome. Then I think it will make sense to consider separation. But for now, I don't think so. Sorry, but if you have any,
Okay.
like any, like if you think it will solve some really hard problems, then yeah, we probably can.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, if I think I'm happy to go with whatever is going to be the most efficient over the next 4 months. That's totally fine. So if that means, you know, not necessarily merging it until that's done because we're not ready to merge anyways, that's fine too.
I think
yeah.
Yeah, it actually made sense when I started because one benefit I see is it would be a lot of like it would be easier to review because we now have like 60 changes and it's like a hell to review.
Mm.
But I think I faced some actually initially I was considered to do that, but then I faced something I don't remember. So in theory, it's like we just need to flip feature flag false, right? And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we don't need to add any extra code for verification. Yeah, I think one problem is that do you remember if you know our guide we have a separate instructions to add verification step and replication, because it seems to me like we have a common instructions, so you would need to separately check every line, so it's like would be harder. So and
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah, so well, what I would say is that we do have LFS as an example because we added we migrated it with replication without verification implemented there. But for the most part, it's like overriding the verification feature flag thing to say false, hard coded, and not including a couple modules, and not including some shared examples into the test. I think it's doable, but like I said, whatever you feel is most efficient over the next 4 months. So
yeah, so in general, I think that made sense early, but when there's lots of changes now, and yeah, I think unfortunately that would be like extra fee
work to go back on.
Yeah.
Okay. Just the thought. Okay. But if you do change your mind and you're facing some issue with doing it, let me know.
I can talk about this because I've been reviewing the
Okay.
MR. I think this MR is only blocked on backfill migration. So that's why this is in my plan to do in the next iteration once we have LFS objects through.
Okay.
I think this can be tagged as workflow blocked.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Rollout of pages. That's open. Okay, issues with no epic. This one is closed. Is Zach here? I don't think so. Yeah, so Stan found an issue with relative root URL, and Zach just went ahead and fixed it very quickly. So thank you to Zach. That's closed now. Oh yeah, I think it was when you hit save, then you ended up on a 404 because it took out the relative URL part. Ian, multi-arch containers.
Yep, found the issue here. I just need to finish implementing it. The baseline of the issue is that multi-arch use manifest lists, but when we're looking for replication, we weren't telling the primary that we would accept a manifest list. So then the Docker registry kind of assumes you just want a regular old image and hands you an image rather than gives you an error that you're asking for something that it can't keep. So that's why it's only replicating the one container right now. So once this is fixed, then it should be able to replicate multi-arch. And I'm not sure how much I want to think about that. I think it'll eventually fix it. So if somebody is using multi-arch and they don't realize it's not replicating, I think this will eventually re-replicate. We should be clear, but that might be something we need to think about.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Ian. And that was the last issue. I'll stop sharing. Does anybody have any, oh, I guess we can stop recording.